Hi everyone, I'm Andre. Welcome to Bringing Brookfield Zoo to you. Today, we are going to explore penguins, specifically Humboldt penguins. If I were to visit a Humboldt penguin, would I need to dress for cold and snow? Well, let's visit with our animal care team to see if we can find out.
Hi, my name is Darlene. I'm a bird keeper at Brookfield Zoo, and I'm bringing the zoo to you. Today we're going to be talking about our Humboldt penguins and breeding season, which we currently are in. So if we look out into our exhibit, or our colony here, we're going to see several penguins standing outside, or visible I should say. If you were to look into the holes that are down on the beach level, you might be able to see some penguins in those little holes, and those are called their nest burrows. This exhibit, we provide them with little nest burrows for breeding. We so happen to have currently, which is a very large number for us, we have 9 penguin eggs, or we have 5 pairs currently sitting on eggs. And what we do with them typically is we will remove their eggs when they lay them, and we incubate them. And the reason why we do that is to have a better success rate with them hatching. So currently the ones who are sitting on eggs are actually sitting on what we call our dummy eggs. And these are eggs basically that we have gotten in the past, or we can make castings of, and they don't know any difference. The reason why we do this is we have a better success rate with them not breaking them, and we can monitor the fertility of the egg if the egg is fertile. We can also monitor the developing of the egg. Also, we do this as well in case we have a pair who might be sitting and none of their eggs are fertile. So once we get an egg doesn't automatically mean that we're going to have a chick in 40 days. First, that egg has to be fertile, and it has to develop completely through its process before it hatches. So we'll monitor this in the incubators, and right when they go into what we call as internal PIP, and that's basically what happens is the chick goes and breaks through what's called as the ear cell. And before they do that, then we will put them with the parents, or we can put them with their foster parents. Now we can do this because Humboldt penguins have 2 eggs per clutch. Usually a pair is more successful rearing one of the chicks. So what we can do is if we have a pair who does not have fertile eggs, they will adopt that egg or chick. They don't know it's not theirs. And they will help us raise that chick, and we can have a better successful rate with that happening. Now, our Humboldt penguins are part of what's called an SSP, which stands for Species Survival Plan. And what it is we are with a group of North American zoos. There's currently about 21 zoos that have Humboldt penguins. And once a year, the SSP meets as a group, and they go over how many penguins we have here in North America. Currently, it's about over 375 individual penguins we have. So what they do is, if we as an institution or Brookfield Zoo have a young female or a young male, and we need a mate for them, we can look at other institutions who also might have a single male or female, and we interchange with them. This helps us keeping our genetic line going with our captive breeding program. We also house other penguins here who may not be breeding. For instance, this colony currently has 20 Humboldt penguins in it. We mentioned already that we have 5 pairs that are sitting on eggs, but currently we have 7 pairs in this colony. And out of those 7 pairs, which make 14, we now have 6 also birds in here that might not be paired for a variety of reasons. If you look across the exhibit there, you might notice that we have 2 individuals from last year. We call them juvenile penguins, and they're marked a little different. There's some that are bill sparring right now, and one's going in the water. They are called juvenile penguins. The 2 that are together are brothers and sisters from our last year breeding, and they look a little different. They don't have that upside down horseshoe pattern on their chest, and they don't have the black cheek patches. Now they will get that after they molt this year, and they will go into what's called adult marking or adult plumage. Just wanted to point that out to you because when a chick leaves his nest, that's the size that chick is going to be. It's going to be the same size as mom and dad, look a little different juvenile plumage-wise, coloration-wise, but you're not going to see a little chick when they leave the nest. Any questions?
Yeah, so what's this guy doing?
He's just basically swimming and kind of cleaning himself up. This is kind of a way of relaxing swimming, getting all that feathers cleaned and so forth.
Earlier, we heard some of the penguins making a kind of honking noise.
Okay.
What's that all about?
Well, penguins, that's called braying. And braying basically is a way they vocalize. They can be calling to their mate. They can be calling to their chicks. They're known in a colony that they can pick out their chick's vocalization and the chick can pick out their parent's vocalization. So it's just a way of communication. One thing I didn't mention, development with the egg. When we have them in the incubators, we'll candle them, and that's how you can tell for fertility. Candling was actually, the term was used a long time ago because that was a light source that people were able to put the egg close to a candle light. We don't do that now, we do a bright light, and we can watch the development of the embryo into a chick, and that's how we can tell inside if that chick is developing or if the egg is fertile on the early on stage. We can also tell if the chick is breaking through the air cell, so the fat end of your egg is where the air cell typically should be, and they will break through that air cell before they make what's called as their first little peck or starburst as they come out. So that's one thing I didn't talk about that we do.
You mentioned that these penguins are part of the Species Survival Program.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of the penguins go back to the wild, or any of them released?
Currently, we are not releasing birds. That's something we would hope for in the future, and it all depends on the stability of the environment and so forth. But that's something we can plan. So that's something, obviously, genetic-wise, we want to make sure that they're not related, and that's why when we do have chicks, it doesn't mean that they will live their whole life here at Brookfield Zoo. Sometimes a mate will come in for them, or sometimes they'll go to another zoo for their mate as well.
What's their life expectancy, and who's the oldest penguin here?
Okay, so their life expectancy is typically 15 to maybe 20 years in the wild. In zoos and aquariums, they can easily double that. We currently have a female solo. She's not in this colony. We have another colony in another exhibit. We call it kind of our retirement colony as they get older. So they don't have to compete for nest sites and being with a bigger group. It's a little bit more relaxing for them. She is 31 years old this year. So that is our oldest. Our youngest were the two juveniles that were here earlier. They're not even a year old yet. They're about 7 to 8 months old now.
Do any of the pairs here foster eggs for other penguins?
Yes, we do that fairly often. We'll give it to a pair that might be experienced. If we want obviously a really good success rate. That's what happens if there's first-time breeding or a first-time pair. It's something that they have to learn to do themselves. It's not something we can teach them to do. So first-time parents would not be a foster parent. In fact, Patty and Valentino, who currently have 2 eggs, we used them last year for fostering one of the kids from last year's group because their parents were new and were first time. And they both, even though both brother and sister did not quite stay in the same nest together, they ended up going back together shortly after they fledged. And so we, yes, normally do fostering fairly often.
Can you remind us how many eggs we have right now?
Right now we have 9 eggs. Not knowing yet because several of them were laid this week, so we don't know if all 9 are fertile right now. So we have a few of them that we know for sure are fertile.
How many eggs do you typically get that are fertile?
Oh, that's kind of a hard question. It regulates throughout the years. It all depends on how many breeding pairs you have. You can have only a couple eggs per year. Sometimes you can have maybe 10 eggs per year. It's a really hard question to answer. In years past, we also had a lot of them. Sometimes they break the eggs accidentally, and this is something that happens in the wild as well. So that's why we pull them and we incubate them to get a better success rate in that regard. So thanks for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the talk about breeding penguins.
I'm still not quite sure if I'd need a heavy coat and gloves if I were to visit Humboldt penguins. I bet if we check with Jenny at the Play Zoo, we'll be able to figure this out.
Hello Play Zoo friends, my name is Jenny. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the HAMILL Family Play Zoo video series, bringing the Play Zoo to you. Did you know that January 21st is Penguin Awareness Day? Today we will celebrate penguins by investigating the penguins who live here at Brookfield Zoo. Let's go! There are lots of different kinds of penguins, 17 species in all. The penguins who live at Brookfield Zoo are called Humboldt penguins. Humboldt penguins do not live in snowy, icy places like some penguins do. They live in South America, where the weather is warm. Here at Brookfield Zoo, the Humboldt penguins stay nice and warm in the Living Coast exhibit. How can we learn more about this amazing animal? Let's investigate. First, let's investigate what Humboldt penguins look like. Humboldt penguins have black heads with white stripes and pink patches of skin around their eyes and their beaks. They have black spots on their white tummies. Each Humboldt penguin has a different pattern of spots that makes them unique. What characteristics do you have that make you unique? Now let's investigate what Humboldt penguins act like. Humboldt penguins are super swimmers. Just like other birds use their wings to fly in the sky, Humboldt penguins use their wings to fly underwater. On the ground, Humboldt penguins waddle and hop on the rocky shores where they live. They make their nests on the shore in caves or burrows. Humboldt penguins also make some funny noises. One thing I love about investigating animals is sharing what I've learned with others. Sharing what you know about penguins is also a great way to celebrate Penguin Awareness Day. Another fun way to celebrate is with the penguin race. Let's get ready for the penguin race. First, set some rocks in your path. We are using rolls of socks as our rocks. Now, pose like a penguin. Pull your wings to your sides and lock your knees together to help you waddle. Who can be the fastest waddling and hopping Humboldt? Ready? That was fun. We learned so much about penguins from our investigation. If you'd like to share your investigations with us, send us your photos to the address on your screen. And to all of our penguin friends, happy Penguin Awareness Day. See you next time.
Well, there you have it. There are many types of penguins. Some live in warm weather, some live in cold weather, and I think we've come to understand I don't really need a heavy coat to go visit Humboldt penguins. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you next time on Bringing Brookfield Zoo to You.